News 3. Good evening. I'm Marie Mortera.
And I'm Jim Snyder. We're looking through about 2 hours of police body cam video that Metro just released under court order. And we'll warn you going in, it's going to bring back all the emotions that you felt that night. It has been for all of us. News 3's Nathan O'Neill is here to walk us through what this video reveals about that horrible night.
Right, and the first video that we're going to show you is the moment when Metro Police busted through the gunman's door, unsure of what was on the other side. And the next moment that we're going to show you, in fact, is the time that police realize that the gunman is in fact dead, and there is a collective sigh amongst all those in that room just knowing that.
Okay, we got one suspect down, 419 inside. This is clear. No. This is clear.
Okay, what was the shots fired in here?
Well, they did an explosive bullet breach. It was Levi? Okay, it was Levi.
Everyone's good?
Yeah, everyone's good. Oh, great. Oh, it's Donald. Okay.
Hey, be careful.
New officers here, hold this.
Okay.
For everybody. Just be careful, you're stepping on something. You're going to be stepping on something.
Okay.
Well, now it's a crime scene, so it's a crime scene.
Yes, and this appears to be cameras. Probably, from when he did the thing.
Okay, listen up, guys. As soon as we finish clearing all these doors from this hallway, recheck them. Then lock this hallway down. Post 2 patrol guys right here for me, okay? Start clearing back that direction till we meet up.
You heard him talk about the cameras there. We now know that the shooter had cameras set up to watch for anyone coming. It looks like they're just discovering them in that clip.
Definitely, and you can see it moment by moment as they are going through the room trying to figure out exactly the lay of the land there. But this next clip is police work in action, wondering if the gunman had an accomplice.
I see a guy switching guns, not reloading. Switching guns, we're not reloading.
I got one wallet.
Is there a note? Did he write something on that? There's that, and then there's a briefcase with a folder in here that I saw on the bed. I mean, we might want to pop that open just to see, or no? Nope. I don't know if you guys want to tell or not.
You can. What's our chances of us getting the dog? You have a 445 dog?
CP Levi.
I can get a 445 dog, but at this point, I'm not seeing anything 445 related. Okay. If we think that, if we have something, we can.
The other room over here, they said had a bag with some wires.
We go take a look at it.
We also, I found a
What's your,
player's card with another name on it from M Casino. It's sitting out on the counter. Did you want to give you that name? Female, but.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say run a dog. I'm going to say armor. Get armor up here and X-ray it because that's weird enough that a dog doesn't alert us still not opening it.
okay.
Corey,
Okay.
are you in touch with CP?
I'm in touch with Kevin.
Okay. I'm really thinking this is just a one guy thing, switching
I
out.
hope so, but what about all the other calls? Is that just people panicking and freaking out, or?
It sounds like.
One guy thing is what they're looking at there, and concerned about some of the packages in the room. A 445 dog is a bomb sniffing dog, something we just learned from Phil Ramos, retired Metro detective, is coming in to walk us through this.
Yeah.
I guess first of all, we have to keep in mind we have to get rid of all hindsight that we have now, because we know so much about what was found in that room. These officers in that moment did not know what they were
Had
doing.
no idea. I mean, the shots had stopped raining down on the crowd for a period of time, but they still didn't know what was going on behind that door. So they had to anticipate, expect the worst, thinking that they were going to get engaged in a firefight with somebody who had automatic weapons. They didn't know that he was dead at that point. Once they were able to get inside and see the mass weapons that were in there and that he was dead, you could, you know, like Nathan said, you could see the collective sigh of relief on their body language and in their voices. But before that point, they didn't know if everybody going in was going to come back out.
And not only that, they did not know how many victims as well were outside of that hotel room. And you and I were saying that's important for them. They had to, you know, remove themselves from that emotional state and just focus on that one task at hand, which is making their way to the gunman's room.
Yeah, that's a great point, Maureen, because officers are humans. If they would have known that there's 50 plus people dead out there and hundreds more injured, it would have played on their emotions, and they just can't react on emotions that way. They have a job to do, and they've got to do it.
Philip, we were talking a little bit earlier. We were watching this video just about an hour before we came on air here, and there is a little bit of a shock that you can see as these officers are making their way in the room, as they notice those cameras and they see them kind of set up. I mean, give us your perspective as an officer walking into this situation. I mean, what are they thinking?
You know, they just are trying to absorb as much information as they can as they're going in, because until they see that there's a body there and the threat's over, they still don't know what to expect. You know, the breach itself, you heard that loud explosion, and then there was a little bit of a delay before they go in. Number one, they have to make sure that the breach worked and that there was sufficient room for the team to get inside. They had to see if there's going to be a reaction from somebody inside if they're going to engage in a firefight based on that breach, the explosion. So they had to take all this into consideration before they started making that move in there. And once they made the move, they're very methodical. They're checking here, they're checking there, they're looking in the closets, looking under the bed. They've got their weapons ready to engage anybody that's going to come out and shoot at them. And then once they see that the threat's over, there's a little bit of a relief there for them.
Phil, I guess we should remind our viewers, since there are no timestamps on this video, this was all roughly about 50 minutes after the shooting started, so about an hour after, 50 minutes after the shooting stopped, so about an hour after it started.
Yeah, and it takes time to formulate the team. You know, they have to clear every area that they're going to. They have to get the team ready. They have to have somebody indicate who's going to make the breach, who's going to be the first guy in, who's going to be the second guy in. All of that takes time, and since the shooting had stopped, the sense of urgency was such that, okay, we can take our time, we can do it methodically, because there's no shots being fired. Had there been shots continuing, then it would have been a different dynamic.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. I was on Facebook Live when we were showing some of these videos at 3 o'clock, and somebody questioned whether Metro might be revealing too much, with concern that strategy, tactics may be exposed from your work with Metro. Do you fear at all that by putting this out there, there could just be too much out there?
That's a possibility, Maureen, but the police tactics are so well reviewed by just about everybody. You know, everybody knows that cops, they line up in front of a door and then they go in. I didn't see anything specific that would give away tactics that would endanger officers in the future. But I mean, that is a good point. I mean, people do know that there's going to be an explosion, SWAT's going to come through, they're going to have their guns ready, and if you want to go out in a blaze of glory, this is how to do it.
Nathan, I guess we should also point out, you've been, really the tip of the spear as far as our attorneys have been pushing to get this released. The department was resisting that for so long, and this is just the beginning of what we expect. We're also waiting for recordings of 911 calls and that kind of thing.
Right, this is just a small sliver of about 750 hours of body camera video, surveillance footage. There's 911 calls, I think about 2,000 of those just to go through, and then hundreds of documents all related to this investigation that the court has ordered Metro to hand over and make public. So this has all been part of the lawsuit that News 3 has been part of.
Yeah, the timeline, Phil, I was going to ask you about this. Maybe it'll come from these calls when we get the recordings, but there's still a question lingering out there. How long did it take Mandalay Bay to call Metro and say, roll heavy, this is mass casualty?
Yeah. Well, by the time Mandalay Bay made that call, the officers that were on the ground were already reacting to that. We know, we've heard officers saying the shots are coming from up there. I can see flashes coming from a window and stuff like that. So the officers that were present at the scene were already reacting to it. The confirmation from Mandalay Bay, whatever time that came in, was relayed to the officers who were already responding to that. The officers didn't wait till they got a call from Mandalay to start attacking that area.
Gotcha.
They did what they have to do.
Because there were officers already assigned for
Right.
security down at the
Yes.
concert.
Now, the first officer that walked into the gunman's room, he didn't activate his body camera, and he mentions that on camera.
Right.
Do you see a problem with that?
No, because if you sit down and look at all the tactics and everything that has to go in place before they make that breach, their weapons are ready. Is the team ready? Is the breach going to work? They have so much going on, so much to prepare. I don't see a problem with that officer one saying, dang it, I forgot to turn on my camera, and then you hear another one say, it's okay, mine's been on and got everything.
Let's go ahead and look forward now. We know that our community has strengthened after this incident, after this tragedy. Going forward from a security perspective, from a policing perspective, what lessons can we learn just from watching these new points of view?
I think that the lessons that we can learn is that it's going to be impossible to predict this kind of behavior in someone. We've seen the video of him interacting with the staff at the hotel right before this happened. He just looked like anybody else. So in order to glean information, now what can we do in the future? I suppose it's going to be, do we keep a closer eye on our guests, and is there a potential for this to happen again, and what can we do about it? And the quick answer is, we don't know that yet.
All right, Phil Ramos, retired Metro Detective, thank you for your service to our community and for walking us through this tonight. And Nathan, thank you as well. We'll be talking with you in future newscasts as well.
And as Nathan said, there's so